So now the recording has started. Today we have to learn about different types of errors in a program. So do you know what do we call the errors that we find in the programs?
A bug.
Yes,
bug.
all of the errors that we find in a programs, errors that we find in a program are called bugs. So all the errors that you find in a program, they are called bugs. So today we have to discuss that how many different types of bugs or errors are there and how can we remove them. Okay. First type of the bug or first type of the error is called syntax error. So what is this kind? This is syntax error, right? So syntax error, how does this error happen? Syntax error is basically a sort of a spelling or formatting mistake. So once you are writing some code in Python or in any other language, and you had to give some instruction, and in that instruction you had to write a particular word. Let's say print. We were doing that exercise the other day in which we had to write the word print. In which we were introducing ourselves and we were writing print. My name is that, my name is this, and all. So let's say that if while writing that we made a mistake, and instead of writing the word print, we wrote the word pint, P-I-N-T. So what would happen? What do you think would happen? If instead of writing P-R-I-N-T,
I think the code contains the cover and so
yes.
so we
Your
can see it.
language, the programming language, your compiler would not be able. Yes, Zainab, you want to say something?
The code can be destroyed.
The code will.
Can you explain that again?
Yes, sure. So the word is syntax error. So this is the first type of error, syntax error. So what is the name? Can you repeat it with me? It's
Syntax error.
Syntax error. Syntax error. Which error? Syntax. Yes.
Error.
Yes, yes, yes. Ramsha, what is that? Yeah, syntax error. Ayad, what is the word?
Syntax error.
Yeah, it's syntax error. So this type of error is kind of a spelling error or a format mistake or a formatting mistake. So this kind of error is called a syntax error. What happens when we write a statement that has a syntax error in this? So it's basically that instead of writing print, that should come like that. I go for this. So it tells me that this name does not exist. Print is not defined. And it gives me a suggestion also, do I mean print? So actually I meant print. That kind of an error would be called a syntax error in which you wrote the wrong pattern or you misspelled a word, or maybe if you wrote like that. Okay, I need to have these two inverted commas and I need to write something between them. But let's say that I only put one inverted comma, what would happen? It would say that it is a syntax error. Why? Because I have not completed this statement. I need to put this symbol at the end also. So maybe something, if I do it like that, then it would fix and I will get the answer. So that kind of an error is called a syntax error. Okay. Which error is that? Syntax error. Syntax error is when that you have used a wrong format for your code, or you have misspelled a word. You have written wrong spellings of a word and you have done a mistake in spelling the word correctly. You will get a syntax error, or another case is that there was some character that was supposed to be used and you missed that character, then you're going to get a syntax error. So syntax error is like that. Syntax error is very easy to identify. It's very easy. It's very easy for it's really easy for the computer to know that you have made a syntax error, because your program does not run if you have a syntax error. The program will not be compiled. It would not be able to run if you have a syntax error. That is basically what syntax error is all about. And the next error that I have to tell you about is runtime error. So
What's
which
the
error is
meaning
that?
of interminate?
Sorry?
What's the meaning of interminate?
Sorry, what is the meaning of?
Interminated.
Have I written it somewhere? I haven't used that word anywhere.
I don't know.
I don't think that I have used such word anywhere. So let's say that you were working on a program, and now I have to tell you about what is a runtime error. Okay, so syntax error was spelling or formatting mistakes. For example, writing print instead of print would be an example of a syntax error. Similarly, if you had to write but instead wrote and missed at the end, that would also be an example of your syntax error. So syntax error appears when you miss an important part of the statement. There are certain rules, there are like grammar of this programming language that you have to follow. But if you don't follow if you miss any of your grammatical rules for this language, that means that you are causing a syntax error. So that is what syntax error is about. The next type of error that you have to learn about is a runtime error. Which kind of error?
Runtime error.
Runtime
error.
Runtime error. I'll tell you what the runtime error is. Runtime error, this type of error is observed when program stops while running. So let's say that in the first type of error, the syntax error, the program does not start to run until and unless you remove that syntax error. So you found an error or you made a mistake in your code. Now your program would not run even if you had a syntax error in your program. Listen to this very carefully. If you had a syntax error, your program would not even run. It would
What?
not even start. In other words, but if you made a mistake where the program starts running but stops after it has started running, that would be an example of a runtime error. Mostly dividing a number by 0 is an example of runtime error. Another example is using undefined variables. So I will give you an example for this one. See that we start writing a program which takes two numbers. Let's say that we need to start writing a program that takes two numbers from users and adds them together. So let's say that I write a code for that. So first thing is that I need to tell what are the two numbers. I would say the first number is X, which is a number. So it's int. And similarly, I write another number, which is Y. Let's say that I write a second number, which is Y. And let's say that I try to run them. Now this program starts running, it takes two numbers, 12 and 32, but it doesn't do what it has to do because I haven't defined what this program has to do. So after that, I need to find a total of two numbers. So I write total equals A plus B. And then I say print the total of two numbers is total. Now let's see what happens.
What does this mean? Total equals A plus B? What does that even mean?
It means that it is going to add two numbers A and B together. I'm trying to explain you what the runtime error is and why would it happen. Now let's see that when I start running this program, the program runs fine. It runs the first instruction and asks me to write a first number, and I write that number to be 23. Sorry. And it asks me to write another number, and I write another number to be 45. But it doesn't do anything after that. So it started running, but it has stopped now. It is not running further. Why? That means that I have made a runtime error here. So the runtime error that I have made here is this line. In this line, I have said total is equal.
And how can we fix it?
Sorry?
Then how can we fix it?
How can we fix this? First, we need to see what kind of error have we made. Now, when I had done this, I know what kind of error have I made and I can easily fix it. But if I don't know how, what would I do? Like there, what the problem is that I took the first number as X and the second number as Y. But for the total, I have chosen A and B, which is wrong.
So it's very easy. So you had to erase A or B and write X or Y, or erase X
that
or
is what
Y
I have
and
to
add
do.
A or B.
I have to do. That is what exactly I have to do. I have to remove A and B and
The first and second line
Y.
and third line have to be the same. A, B, A, B, Y.
Now, if I will run it, it would work fine. Let's say that I say the first number is 40, second number is 20, and it works fine now. So the runtime error has been removed. This kind of an error is a runtime error. What is the runtime error? A runtime error is that which stops your program while it's running.
Computers can also can be calculators. They can add total the numbers of plus.
Yes, they can do things like that, and they can help you to like write any table, any times table that you want. Let's say that you want to write 17's timetable, you can do that. If you want to do 18's timetable, you can also do that.
How can you do a times table? That's crazy on computers.
That's very easy, obviously. But if let's say that I ask you to write the times table for 31, 31 ones are 31, 32 twos are 62, and you have to write that till, let's say, 31 times 20, it would become difficult, but computers can do it very easily. I will show that to you in tomorrow's class. How can we write our own times table? Okay. So today we learn about the errors, and tomorrow we try to write a times table with our favorite number. One thing. After that, after this, now you have understood the concept of the runtime error. Runtime error, basically what it does is you start writing a program, but it goes to a statement which cannot be executed, which cannot be started. So your program stops there. before you fix that, and once you have fixed that, then it would start running. So that is the runtime error, that it stops your program from running. That is this runtime error. A runtime error stops your program from running. It once your program starts to run, it stops it after that. So that is a runtime error. Fine. Okay, so let's go towards the next thing. So the next type and the last type of error is a logical error. What kind of error is the last one?
Logical error, I don't know.
I don't hear
No
any
problem if
word
you
of
don't know that.
error.
So
That's a new thing. Logical error. I don't know.
that is logical error. You don't know that logical error, what does it mean or how does it work? But I will explain that to you. This is the toughest error to identify. Okay. If you write a program and there is a logical error in that, it becomes very difficult to find where the problem is. Why? I will explain that to you. Now, logical error is not like the syntax error that would not run the program or that would not compile the program. Similarly, it's not like the runtime error that it will stop the program somewhere, but it will continue to run your program until you find a wrong solution. So you, let's say, wanted to write a program that will add two numbers together, but instead used the sign of multiplication instead of addition.
Addition.
So this will make your program to have a logically incorrect statement, like you had to add or plus numbers, but instead you used multiplication. So this is basically a wrong logic that you have followed. This kind of error would become a logical error. Okay. So the third
Okay.
type of the error is a logical error. When our program follows a wrong logic and gives us wrong results, it is because of the logical errors. Let's take an example. In a program that should add two numbers, we should use number 1 plus number 2 using n1 minus
But why doesn't number one and why does not the spelling number has only one letter N?
it's basically that I only wanted to write less characters. It has got nothing to do with anything. Or if we wrote n1 into n2, all these things would cause logical errors. Where you have to add the numbers, you have to write the addition sign.
Because the computers won't understand what is N stand for. You know what it stands for, but the computers don't know what it stands for.
Computer will also understand that, because you will tell it this way. Let's say that if I write n1 here and n2 here, and here I write n1 plus n2, still your computer would understand what we are talking about. 45, let's say that I write 45 here, 65 here, and it gives me the answer 110. The computer is basically understanding that as well. Okay. So this would become a, let's say, a variable number. But let's say that we are here to discuss the logical error. So let's say that instead of writing this plus, I wrote this negative sign here by mistake. What would happen? I would know that I wanted to add two numbers together and I added 25 and 35. In my mind, I can calculate that 25 and 35 is equal to 60. So I would expect that the answer here would be 60, but When I press enter here, the answer is going to be -10, which makes me,
I know
sorry,
because the 35 actually minus is 25 instead of adding to the negatives.
yes, that is happening because we have used the wrong logic here. We want to add the numbers, and this logic is not the logic that
You
we
added a negative.
yes, to
It's
add
a
the
clue. You added a
plus here.
negative to minus it.
Yes, if we want to add the numbers, you have to use plus here. That would add your numbers. Okay. Now when I press and start try to run this program, it would work certainly fine. See, now it is working fine. Got it?
Yes.
Now there is an assignment that I want to give you guys.
What?
You have to use the same method that I have used and write a program. Write a program that takes three numbers and multiplies them together. You have to do this one. You have to make two changes. Let me explain that. You have to write a code like that.
Three numbers, that's very easy. You add two, you add first the number, then plus, then number, then plus. That's it.
So you have to do this. Now we have written there two statements to get two numbers. I can write the third statement here as well like that. Just have to change
We have
this
to do
into
the
20.
assignment in Python or Python.
You can do it on Python.
Sir, is it either Python or something else?
You can do it in idle Python. You can do it in idle Python as well. There is no problem in that. Just follow the correct syntax. If you find any syntax problems, do let me know. And then you have to find the product, multiplies them together. By multiplying, we mean that n1 should be multiplied with n2 and n2 should be multiplied with 3. Now let's say that if I write it something like that, and name it as product. Product is basically the multiplication. And I will say the product of three numbers is product. Now, when I will run that, you would see that it is going to take three numbers from me. I'm going to take easier numbers like 3. Then I'm going to multiply it with 4. What is 3 times 4? 12?
3 times 4 equals 12.
12. And 5 times 12 is
60.
5 times
60.
60.
So once I press enter, now my answer should be 60. If I get answer 60, it means that my program is working fine. If I don't get that answer 60, it means that my program is not working fine. Yes, so I have got the answer 60. And if I would change these numbers to something else, let's say that I write 10, 12, 50, I'm going to get another answer. Fine. So that is how these programs are going to work for you.
How many programs do we have to make?
Only one. Only one you
Okay.
have to write today. That program is going to take three numbers from you. That program is going to take three numbers from you, okay, and multiply them together. So that is the assignment also. I'll be sharing this document here with you so that you can have a clear understanding of what you have to do. Also, there are types of errors that I have discussed, and I have mentioned 2 things for them as well.
Teacher,
Yes.
the 10 you need to send it with audit and we did this. Do this
Sorry?
for Python or not?
Sorry again.